What's up, guys? We are here in the wilderness, you know, just seeing a little bit of nature. But yeah, today I woke up, I didn't sleep much, but I woke up and I was thinking, like, how did Prince, we're talking about Prince, the artist. I know some of y'all don't know Prince, but anyways, I was thinking, how did Prince made so many albums? I don't know how many albums he made, like specifically, I don't know, but he made a lot of albums. You guys can go like research for yourself how many albums he made. But he made a lot of albums. He made a lot of songs, and I'm like, how did he make so many? How did he make so many songs? If I look at my career, I made a lot of songs, but as for right now, I'm not really planning on making dropping a project. In a span of 1 year alone, I made 3 full-fledged projects. But I could still be going for next year, make the next one. Even though I'm exhausted. And there's only so much music you can do. That's the thing. I mean, you have pop, right? You have pop, you have rock. You have hip hop and rap. You have jazz. I might forgot some, but that's basically what you have, right? These are the songs, the music genres and stuff. You have the artist. You have EDM. You have all these genres. Even though I have not made all the genres in music yet. I haven't, but. I covered a lot. I already covered rock. I already covered pop, R&B, New Jack Swing, hip hop. I would consider myself so one artist that done it all. Yeah, I'm not old, right? I'm not old. We all know like the old heads, the old musicians. They always get like so much. Have you never wondered, guys, why some older musicians that have been around since the 80s, groups like ABBA and stuff, they get so much recognition. Even Ozzy Osbourne, but he died now, he passed. But he got like a lot of recognition. It's because he's an old head. He's from back then. So that's the thing. And but I consider myself like an old soul. I don't know if somebody what an old soul means. Somebody that already lived before in another body. So I consider myself, even though I'm now in a younger body, but already been doing music my whole life. I just transferred songs in the past. I just re-recorded them in this lifetime, like a continuation. But still, from my past life and this life, I still haven't made as many songs as Prince. Maybe Prince just sucks. I feel if you're a good musician, you know how to get your messages out. But then again, in the 80s, you didn't had video games, right? In the 80s, there weren't like no video games. You know what I mean? You didn't have like really consoles to play with. You didn't have as much to do, so then he just did music. I as much as I love music, I have other passions, but some don't get it. When you explain to them that like in some video games you play, the soundtrack basically makes the game. That's what makes the game so great. Most games, it's really the soundtrack that helps the game really, gain the attention it has. Even Minecraft, guys, why did Minecraft got so big? I mean, the idea would have been a success anyways, but it's also the chilling background music, right? Many say like, that video game music ain't real music, but that's total BS. That's bullshit. That's bullshit, bro. They make one of the best soundtracks, I'm just really just walking here. All right, so I just got here. We're just talking about this. How's that? I don't have motivation. I did a lot. You know, I recently dropped my album, and I kind of did. I kind of said what I need to say, because when I do an album, many of us, like, the theme is very important. You know, some want to like be censored. Some, you guys know that even in hip hop, there's a lot of censorship. Yeah, I mean, you guys have NWA and stuff. They were the first one who actually like scratched the surface of the rabbit hole, right? With the Eazy-E, even though Ice Cube wrote lyrics for Eazy-E, right? But they were not 100% real with y'all, but they still told you like a bunch of stuff. I mean, Eazy-E was into the gangster rap, gangster shit. He was never a musician. Eazy-E, Eric Wright, right? He was he was outside in the community. He was doing the gangster shit, right? And he found a way to put it into music. We're talking about this because the way he vanished was a little bit weird, I already mentioned it for all other artists, but so it's important, like what type of themes you have in music. So I prefer to make an album. It depends. I already made my albums fully dedicated to hip hop, fully dedicated to rock, fully dedicated to one genre specific, right? But I also have the mixes, where you just have whatever you feel like. I feel like more doing this, even though it's important to make like one fully dedicated, but I think you can only make so many. I made 3 full rock albums, like just rock, I made maybe a couple of hip hop albums, only hip hop. For me to make another one like this, it's gonna be hard, but it's not impossible. I know some of y'all want like just like a hip hop album, or just rock. I'm gonna mix rock with other genres, sub-genres. Maybe even reggae, because like at this point making a full reggae album, we'll see though. We'll see how we gonna like evolve. But I prefer to make like a mix. But it should have like great pop hits. Pop albums for me. That's what I really rather want to do. That doesn't mean that I'm not gonna make the other stuff, right? But yeah, in an album, what I do like to say, or like a mix. Like I said, going back, like you make a song where you just talk about like stuff you like, fun stuff. It doesn't matter, it doesn't have to have a deep meaning, but in kind of way it's going to have a deep meaning. You know what I mean? Or else. And other than this, you can take like deeper topics and make as many songs as you want to, and put it out like in a mix. Then the track list varies. Everyone has different idea of how long they have to be. It's gonna be a double album. It's gonna be an album. Now I don't really plan on making double albums. I like to make albums about 20 songs. It doesn't have to be exact 20. It can be more. But if you make more, you probably consider making a double album. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I like it 20 more or less. I'm done with I used to make 12 track type of albums. I feel like that's lame now. 12 songs, bro. That's weak. And those artists, believe me or not, the artists who make 15 songs, they just want to get promo. I mean, those who keep it like so painfully short. That's why I'm more the 20 guy. I feel like a real album, you make 20, because else you rush it. These albums always rushed. We can't even take Michael Jackson. Take Michael Jackson, bro. Guys. Thriller. You know, is it rushed? You know, I'm not gonna say all these albums are rushed, but some of these albums feel rushed. Some of y'all say back-to-back hits, but you're acting as if Thriller could not be bigger. It was, most likely, but they shortened it for marketing strategies and stuff like that. He's great. He's a great example. You know, some of y'all wanna rivalize Michael Jackson and Prince. MJ, you wanna say that Michael Jackson was better than Prince? Come on, guys. Michael Jackson looked up to Prince. He maybe didn't admit it, but he looked up to him. You know, you guys never heard the story? No, none of y'all never heard the story that Michael Jackson would wake up like at 3 a.m. right, just to make a song before Prince makes it. No, you have not. You know, there's a lot of stuff going on. I don't really want to talk about it. So this is how I do. I remember albums. I talk about deep topics, and I did it with this album. I said everything. I said the fun stuff. I said the real shit. We talked about the real shit. We talked about, like, we made past life songs where we talk about the past life. You know, metaphorical. You know, when you talk in your songs about killing, but you mean like your past life. You know, we did all of it. We did trickster songs. There's everything. That's why I called it like this. You know. In this album, I kind of tell you everything. I think I already done an album where I tell you everything, but in this one, like, it's painfully obvious. Everything I'm saying. Like, this album was almost like, you know, this is gonna be the last album where I'm actually gonna be 100% buck with you guys. You know, I feel it. I feel this was like the last album where, like, really was honest. You know, really told about what was going on in his life. You know what I mean? And then when they made the future projects, you know, they just wanted to jam and have fun. And you guys who tell them that they have lost their, you know, their shine and stuff, you know, they're not as good as they used to be. You know, I feel like they evolved. They evolved as artists, you know. They were like, yeah, I said word, I got my message out. Those who gonna miss it, I'm not gonna repeat myself. I'm not gonna be redundant, you know, because sometimes you're talking about subjects that are like very deep. Many subjects I'm not even gonna bring up here, you know. But I'll give you some examples, like psychedelics. You guys know, marijuana. You know, what else? You know, yeah. I'm only gonna say this because, you know, we can't talk about so many stuff. But one thing I'm gonna tell you guys too, like meditation. Meditation is like something they don't really want us to talk about, because I have a song actually called Meditate. It's an older song. I recorded it back in 2020. You know, the meditate. They don't want us to talk about meditate, or they don't want us to talk about marijuana. They don't want to talk, you know, shrooms. That's a taboo. You can't talk about this. You know, I know this is critical because you can buy alcohol everywhere. You know, but for some reason you cannot. You know, and that's why, guys. That's why. I don't want to indulge too much into, like, you know, and that's just it's just the surface. You know, sexuality. That's another good thing. Another good one. Sexuality is good. You can talk about this. I'm just like, you know, you just love who you want to love, right? You know, I ain't even gonna go further than this. I'm just like, you guys, I know many of y'all gonna disagree, be like, no, but I'm really saying just love who you want to love, right? Just that. I think I also, like, pointed it out in my album, you know. And then for the next album, I'm kind of like, you know, what am I gonna do other than, like, storytelling? Is it gonna be like a full album again, like maybe just a sequel, but more focused on storytelling, you know? But no, we also gonna come with the real, and we should also bring events. So yeah, I'm not the type of guy who comes with dates, but for those who wonder when I'm going to actually drop another album, it's going to most likely be October. We could make one this month, but guys, certain events only gonna happen in September. It's always been like that. You know, it's already bad enough that we dropped this album in July, because we could have like covered what happens now. But yeah, we're gonna have this in a recap then. But me dropping an album 1 month after this, I already know how it's gonna sound like. You know, I already did that. I already made like a whole trap album. They are fun to make, you know, but you also gotta fill it. I want to make something more, you know, more professional. You know what I mean? Like more pop. I want like a lot of pop in there. Like next album, guys, I'm most likely gonna have pop songs in there. You know, I mean, I'm also kind of intrigued doing hip hop again, but I might just gonna release some singles and not even include them in the album. But we never know where it's gonna go. But yeah, guys, I'm not gonna tell you what album. So next album is gonna be possibly a pop album, just a pop album. You know, paying homage to the music masters, the older, we're paying homage to them. You know, we can do this, and maybe find out what's real about the rock and roll. Because I'm not gonna make a whole rock and roll album. I'm just gonna put some rock classics in there. You know, but we're not gonna make a full-fledged rock. It would a full rock album. Most likely, even if I don't like doing this, would only have 9 to 14 tracks, not even 15. You know, because you want to bring out the message, and you don't need too many instrumentals. So keeping it at even only 9 songs, and then keep it to something like that. This is a good rock record. You can make a long one, but then you gotta really like it. You gotta really, really, really like it. And this is making a statement. Every album drop is a statement. You know, so like I said, most likely gonna be a pop album. If not, I'll see if I can make another hip hop album. If we have great beats, if we have like a 20-ish great beats, hip hop, we could do it. We could even slide in couple of R&B songs. You know, this goes great. Yeah. So we'll see what we really need, what we need to see, what we need to do. There's much, but for me to really go the direction I want to go, I think I would have to drop 3 albums. But yeah, so guys, it makes sense to actually release the next album in October. October is perfect, but if not, guys, then December, because think about it, we're gonna have more. It's gonna be like much deeper. The later we release it, the deeper it's gonna get. You know, so the latest would be 2026, right? The latest I were to drop an album would be next year, guys. Just take a whole year to relax, to reflect. You know, dropping some singles here and there, and then release it most likely early 2026, like, you know, early as possible. You know, could also be late, but it doesn't matter. A good sweet spot is December, guys. That's like a sweet spot. It's not too late, but it's also not too soon. And we're gonna have like a lot of events there, right? We can talk about this. But if I feel daring, if I find like good inspiration, if I find good beats, I think the instrumental is gonna play more of a role this time for us, you know, because like I said, my current album has everything. It has the instrumentals. It has the beats. It has the message. Funny, serious message, joke message. Has everything. All right. Maybe some of my older products lacked some of it, but this kind of balanced it out so much that I actually don't really even know, what to make. See what I'm saying? And that's why I don't compare myself to some artists. Every artist is different. You have some artists who don't have a lot of albums, like a discography is small, they don't have a lot of songs. You have some who have huge. I'm more like in the middle because I don't push myself too much, but I disagree with I like to take my time. This is what some artists say. Michael Jackson again, right? Michael Jackson's like, I like to take my time to make a song and stuff. You get a pass, Michael, because you were already in a group, Jackson 5. But still, I don't like the stuff. So you like, or take your time. That ain't me, I'm not like that. I have to. After I release an album, I have to at least make a single next month so that I already know what's like next. I already do that. But I'm not too pushy. I'm not. Like, no. If I were to be pushy, I would only listen to my own songs, own music. I don't want that. I need to explore still. I don't want that. It's never gonna happen. But that's about it. That's when it's going to be released. October sounds risky, but it is good. And it's not too much of a spoiler, guys, because I haven't told you when I'm gonna release this album in October exactly. Is it gonna be October 31st? In Halloween? I could release it sooner. The sooner the better. And then release it to Halloween. But then I still have to have great timing because some things might happen within the month. If it's sooner, that's better. If it's later, I can still drop singles after the album is done. Leftover stuff. Right? So that's this. All right. But yeah, guys. Before I go, we're just talking about this, like going back to the music masters. Those who've been around the 80s. I know some passed away, some are passing away. All right, so and this is where most of y'all like really see them for who they were and what they were actually doing. This is great, But I think I'm good. I think that's it. Like, I don't want to indulge too deep into this music industry. I mentioned enough. But these are great guys. Look them up. Look them up. The other ones, gonna mention them later on. As you progress with the album. But this is how we're gonna start. We're gonna pay homage to these artists because they're great. They're really great. Every artist is great on their own right. But this is all we're gonna do. All right. Honestly. But I'm just here, good. It's good. Get away, get off me. So yeah, guys, I'm gonna keep you updated when I'm gonna drop the next single. My next single. It should be this month. I want to release it this month, but I'm just getting ready mentally. I want to make sure I pick the right beat because. How many beats you guys think I want to make something on? Look up my playlist. I have 300 beats or 400 beats. I possibly want to make something on it. So I need to sleep over it to pick the right one. And, I could drop two singles, but I'm most likely only going to make one. because that's most of the time that's what we need, what I need. I just need one new song, right, which I could do this month. If not, guys, then it's gonna be later. I don't know when, you know. But like I said, I feel comfortable like releasing my next album like in December. You know, I'm not like Future. Who dropped 2 albums in a year. You know, not him, but there was like another underground artist, or not. I don't know. But there was like an artist who made like recorded 4 mixtapes in a week or something. I'm not there, guys. I'm not. You know, if you ask me, since some of you artists, I notice a pattern. Some of you artists release 1 album every 2 years, and then you take a long break and release another one. This is what I think Kanye West kind of did this. I could be wrong. I haven't checked his discography, but a lot of artists I studied the discography. Y'all took 2 years, so I was like, for me, taking 1 year break between every album, for me it suits. But sometimes I have to do more. You know, so it depends. Depends, guys. You just expect me every year. I'll give you at least 1 album. It's just the way I am, bro. Just the way I am. 1 sounds reasonable, you know. You get 1 every year. But if I feel good, I feel real good, guys, you gonna get 2 or even 3. You know, for those who want reggae, because I know what songs you guys still want to hear. I cannot give you everything, but then to be honest, there's a lot out there, guys. The music plays more now for me, if you ask me. The lyrics, what hasn't been said yet, you know, or what hasn't been said on a specific beat. This is where I'm relevant. You know, so we talk to these guys who try to make us irrelevant. No. As long as the instrument still plays, as long as you guys still playing your instrument, as long as you guys still making beats, we're gonna go on. And you would be very upset if you guys think, you know. But let's just say it like this: the next project or projects maybe gonna be one of my last. Who knows? Maybe after I'm done with making an album, maybe if I drop now my last album, maybe it's my last one. It depends. Is it gonna be double album? I don't know. But once we dropped it, maybe I'm gonna do something else as a musician. You know? Yeah, there's other ways. I can just be shooting video clips. All my songs. I can just do this for a year, guys. You know? We could see if we, you know, do something else. But yeah. I don't know what's the goal. Like how many... I'm going as long as I'm going, but, you know, I'm gonna go soon. It's, you know, just so you guys know when to expect an album. I still want to go. I'm still going, but like I said, I'm still thinking about beats. I already know that I want pop. I have other interests, you know, more, maybe like more rocky, more rock type beats, more reggae, more hip hop and stuff. I have ideas. I still have ideas. I still have vibes, samples that I want to bring in. I know they're missing, but it's not as much as pop. For me, pop is where it's at. Pop is where it's at. We need to do pop. You know, 9 times out of 10, the next song I'm gonna make is gonna be a pop song. All right, it's gonna be pop. And then for the 1%, it's gonna be some rap, be rapping again, or maybe even reggae or like a rock song, something like that. You know, it's not actually easy to make New Jack Swing, let alone like a whole album. But who would do that? There's some who do it. I never had the beats to make New Jack Swing, but I had other stuff. But But yeah, we live in a time now where like many producers are actually very talented, even though there's not so many there, guys. But there are some there. But me, you know, I'm gonna stick with the same producers for a while now, guys. For a while. I think this is it. This is it, guys. All right. But yeah, if you want to do the calculation, if every song has 20 songs, if every album has 20 songs, with 5 albums you made 100 songs, more or less. So you gotta make 5 times. So I need to make more or less 50 albums to be retired as a musician. 50 albums. I think if you made 50 albums, you retired, if you even had to. You know, maybe it's not necessary, but you know, imagine, you know, that's like the extreme. You would make 50 albums, and then depending on how short some of your albums were, you gonna make 55. You know, you're at the 55 mark, or maybe even after you reached your goal, you wanted to get up to 60, 70, but after you're at 100, you know, I think that's it. But it's most likely not going to be 100. It's going to be estimated more like 90-ish, even 80, something in the 70s, guys. So this is how much is potentially possible. But I'm going to leave you guys, you know, unless you also want me to watch the exit, because I actually just want to show you the view before we go. You know, before we go. Like I said, these are the artists I made music with. I got to know a lot of you artists too. The music, I listen to your stuff. You know, that's great. That's great. But I'm already letting you guys know I cannot make a song tonight. Sometimes I do make songs like where it's really not possible, but that's when I'm like in the rush or something. But I do kind of do want to make a song, to be honest. You know, yeah. Well, hold on a sec. Why can I not stop? This is bullshit. I cannot pause the video. This sucks. I cannot pause the video right now, so I'll have to stop. But I'm actually thinking like what beat I'm possibly gonna use. I think it doesn't matter. I just, like I said, guys, I want a pop song, and then I have other genres, sub-genres that I still have them in my head, so you might use them. But honestly, like I'm gonna go sit down after and then take a listen and see if we could make one. But yeah, guys, I'm like, as long as we drop it, like, you know. But let's see. Maybe I can make one, but not tonight. It will be like tomorrow more likely, or the coming weeks. See, but yeah, guys, you know that I'm not doing this on purpose. You know, I'm not. I actually want to do this, you know. But here we are, guys. Show you the view a little bit. I haven't been here in a while but you can look at this. Look at all of this. It's great, right? Great views. Great views. You can see the houses. There are the houses. The houses are there and stuff. But I'm about to go back. Don't think I want to stay here for too long. But yeah, we can talk about the conspiracies before we go. Yeah, we're talking about how these guys, all these celebrities, especially these master celebrities who died. Like, if you feel off about them and how they died, then there's something about it. Somewhere we're just being silenced as musicians. This is the thing. Even if some want to say that no, they just gone crazy. This, I've never noticed how they're like, oh yeah, these artists are crazy. How that's the thing. I'll think about it all the time. Like how some artists died. Tupac. Why are they still talking about his death? You guys are talking more about Tupac's death than his music. But that was not the reason why he died then. That's why I'm start to think, like, what are they not maybe lying to us? They're lying to us about like how these artists really died. What if they got tortured? What if they got tortured before they got like murdered? We don't know. We don't really know. Can we really trust what they tell us? Like, oh yeah, overdose, this, suicide. Maybe it's true. Because we don't know. But what do we think? What do we think that maybe they got tortured? Maybe something really horrible happened to these artists. They always report about the last phone calls, how nervous they sounded, or how off their albums sounded before it happened. Right? Yeah. We don't know. The thing is, none of us really know, unless like you really know them, or unless you really had to know. I don't think I have to know. Do I need to know, like how they really died? But I'm like, guys, don't just believe every bullshit. Like just because they tell you that they died like this, But I'm gonna have to go down here. Oh shit. Yeah, guys, lot of stuff's happening. A lot of your out of touch, outdated. But I'm not like I said, I'm not gonna go in detail, like with stuff. This is more bullshit, like for backup channel stuff, where we want to educate the dumb ones, because this is for educational purpose. But I'm not a doctor, and I'm not a teacher. Right, so I do this on my backup channel, just in case I get reported or flagged, because they think I'm trying to do something I'm not doing. I'm not gonna risk to get the strike or report something on my channel just because I want to like talk about something, because some of y'all don't know, and I'll talk about it, and you get offended. I'm not gonna risk. You can risk it if you want to, but I will never do it. So I'll put everything on my backup. You can go check out my backup if you can find it. If not, never mind, right? I don't have to do it. I don't have to do this. All right. And I do the teaching. If I do teachings, I do them for free. I don't ask you for money. I don't put like a Patreon. I'm not bashing you guys who have Patreon. But I don't have this. I don't ask for no donate. No like paywall to get knowledge, because this is my passion, right? But yeah, for the other stuff, the other stuff. I mean, it's good if you guys are educated, but I'm just frustrated. You guys don't do your own research, because all these things I know. I read myself. I don't read books, but you can read like in websites and stuff. And some of you guys say, oh, but you can't trust websites. It's true, but just read and learn, find out about things until you see in every version and you can distinguish what's real, what's fake. It might take a while. It takes a while, but you know, you're never gonna have to make this effort. So you're just really just sacrificing a little bit of your life that can possibly like make your life longer. It's totally worth it, but it's not worth me sharing like very, very explicit details about anything. You know, guys, like going back, these drugs, these psychedelics, bros, and everything else I'm not even gonna mention in this video. These are stuff like, you know, we are, you know, no, I'm not. I don't talk because I know how the algorithms are. I don't want that, you know. And maybe some of my subscribers, maybe some of you are not ready. Maybe some of you are ready. Just take what I gave you, for now. What the info I gave you guys, that's enough. That should be enough for a while, and then we come with another lesson, you know. Most likely deeper. We want to talk about more deeper stuff, but yeah, that's literally it. That's it, guys. I'm actually going. I'm just showing you. And this used to be my routine, to be honest. You know, I used to do this. To be honest with you guys, I used to do this every day, nearly every goddamn day. The same routine of how I make this video, how I walk. Sometimes like a little bit different path, but that's it. And this is where I got a lot. Not only being here, but this is a part of you know, me getting like a lot of inspiration to make songs, make music. Just being here, just living, just being sometimes. And here you find out to get lesson that sometimes it's better to be alone, not lonely, but alone in your thoughts. Nobody really tampering with it as they want to, as they wish to. But it was here, you know. But you know, I'm not like really here like that anymore. I wonder why. But that's, you know, that's a subject for another video. But yeah, guys, that's why they don't want us to meditate. All right, that's why. Sometimes they just don't want us to do things just because they don't want to. You know, you gotta think about this because sometimes you're doing stuff and you either unintentionally or intentionally hurt someone. But what if you did not want to hurt them? What you did, right? You know, that's why I would never do it, you know, because you could actually, have you never thought you know how the monks live? The monks live like this. The monks really on hermit mode. They shave their head. They're on hermit mode. They're in their temples, meditating every day. I could never do this. I didn't assign for this. No, because else we would not live here. No, if you want this lifestyle, you have to go off grid. Of course, you have to go off grid. You can't be here. You know, it makes no sense. It makes no sense. You know, so some of you are too much deep into some stuff sometimes. You know, and that's why I'm telling you guys, music again, guys. Yeah, we can make an album. We can drop an album this month. We can drop one in October. We can drop one October 1st and stuff. But if we don't meet the deadline, it's all good. You know, some of you get too much emotional. Because you're like, you know, we should make this, we should do this. We should make something out of ourselves. You're looking at others, how their life were when they had a certain age. Oh, when I was 15 years old. This is what sometimes your mom and your dad tell y'all. When I was this much years old, already had this, already did this, and you gonna think that you gotta be exactly just like them. That when you reach a certain age, but maybe not. Maybe for you it takes longer, maybe not as long. You know, and you beat yourself up with this, right? But it doesn't matter. It's not that deep. It's really not that deep. It's the thought that matters. It matters that you know that you as an individual you are enough and you've done enough. That's what really matters. So even the projects we have here, it's not that deep, you know. When there's like another part coming, when I'm telling you guys that I'm gonna make a video, but then there's been no video, it's not that deep. It was never meant to be that deep. We need to, you know, we need to know stuff now. We just need to know things now. I mean, like the content creation stuff is important, but at a certain extent, just like me right now, to be honest, I'm just being redundant. You know, I'm just repeating a lot of stuff I already talked about 3 years ago. You know, and that was already repetition. So we're really going very, very deep. You know, guys. So yeah, everything actually ain't that deep. If you want to be a hermit, if you want to be a monk, be a monk. You know, but I think you have to go off grid. You know, me too. I've been thinking about this. But yeah, you just gotta be meditating all day. Whatever, but however you want to do it. You either be a monk, the way you know your definition of a monk, because everyone has this, you know, the ones from the books, right? But not everyone is like this. But I thought about it. You know, like I said, like not everyone is like this. Not everyone does that. See what you know? You can't make, like, you know what I mean? The real meditation. You're like the guy, you know, saying, can't take the past life out of me. You know, can't take the city out of me. You know. You can't take me out of the city, right? You can't take me out of the city, but you can't take me out of the city. You know, not everyone's like that, but you know, you do you if you really want to do it. It's I'm intrigued with it though. You know, you would just sit in stillness all day, and all you would eat like some peanuts because you actually wouldn't move around. You know, why you would have to do this, I don't know. I don't know why, if you would do this, but you can actually do it. You know, and I know someone abandoned this and stuff, but come on, who even does that now? You know, if you think about it, that's almost 50 years ago. So a lot of things are not like how they used to be. Not everything, but for that long time. You can't really move like this anymore. So I'm already out. You know, I would never do this, because I would just abandon my channel. You know. So yeah, you guys have your idols. I'm not bashing you having your idols, but have you never thought that maybe some of your idols didn't know? They didn't know as much. They didn't know. They knew much. You know, they knew a lot of stuff, but there are many things they didn't know, and maybe had to live the way they did to access the knowledge. You know. And yeah, I'm not saying you know when you guys like to say Kanye West has gotten crazy, right? Kanye West is crazy. This is what they used to say during his career. They used to say that he's crazy and this, but you guys done this like with every artist. And I don't know, but I'll say for some it was true. Some were really insane or going insane, but some not. And they just said it, you know. Yeah. So yeah, what's true, what's false, I don't know, but I know that it's like not 100% factual. It can't be. It can't be. And that the some of your idols you guys write about, like, it's great, you know, it's great, but I'm like, I have to disagree with stuff, and that's why you guys are like, oh no, you cannot disagree, you cannot disrespect them, you know. I'm just like, you know, yeah, we can go, you know, those who listen to Park music, that some of his song lyrics are not good. Yeah, he has good songs. So Many Tears, right? So Many Tears, I'll give you that, Park. So Many Tears might be one of your best songs. All right, so Many Tears, most likely one of his best songs. But you know, some of his songs are too much acted. Because those who read about the Park's life, they know that he went to art school, and he did acting, and he made movie. He was an actor. He was in the movie with Janet Jackson, right? Park was in the movie with her, so he was an actor. And you think he would not act in his music? And it's when I listen to some of his music and it's acted. But some of y'all listen to it and think that's how he really were. This goes for Pac. This goes for other artists. You name it. You know, because they most likely listen to his music when they were like younger and stuff. Coming up, they listened to it. You know, and they implemented it. So yeah, the message of today is like, you know how when some artists die, there's like one thing, like we have to make a decision when an artist die. Are we gonna let their music live on? Did they deserve it? Or are we, you know, because now that they're passed, we never gonna listen to their music. But I'm saying that these type of artists who die, if you really die and we don't listen to your music anymore, then your music wasn't important. Like a lot of your young artists, you know, that I used to listen to coming up, but now are just irrelevant, or just relevant because of their image. You know, pay attention, guys. Pay attention to our artists who are being talked about in the news, but for their image, never for their music. All right? I know this is very obvious. We can talk about it. I'm gonna call out some names, though. 6ix9ine. Take 6ix9ine. Take him. Take 6ix9ine. When was the last time the news covered him? But I think 6ix9ine, they don't even cover him in the news anymore. But that's the point. You guys for a while always, you know, put these artists in the news for dying, or for, you know, for just causing a ruckus or something. Doing something out of the ordinary, but never no music. All right? And I'm like, how come I still make songs? I still make songs though. I don't drop like, I don't know, how many albums I used to make in 1 year, or how many songs. I think close to 100. In 1 year only, I made close to 100. I think it was not 100 exactly. It was like, yeah, there was a 1 year period. I made like about 70 songs. Could be 70, but maybe not 70. It was maybe like more like 64. I made so many songs in 1 year only, guys. I'm never gonna be like this again. I'm never gonna make 60 songs. Now I'm gonna make like 20-ish songs, but not even this year alone. Or in 1 year period again. Yeah. I'm getting there again. You know. But you know, that doesn't mean that I'm gonna do this, you know. Now I just plan on making like 20 songs. Like I said, I'm gonna make like about 20 songs, 20-ish songs, more or less. But that doesn't mean that I'm gonna make this and be ready in October, or even some of y'all want it this month. You want another album this month already. Like, no, we're gonna have better beats if we release it in October, guys. And you should just, you know, survive August with some singles, you know, and then in September some more singles, and then in October we finish this off, you know. Yeah, an album can be done in a week. You only need 7 days to make an album. Seriously. You need 7 days, guys. You don't need 3 months. But if I took 3 months, then I know that's better than 7 days, because then it's like more fleshed out, and I don't want like something rushed. Why do that? This is all marketing strategy. It's marketing, because when you rush an album, the tracklist gonna be shorter. You're gonna move on from this faster. No, at least the album I released, you know, we're not gonna move on as fast from this. But yeah, with that being said, guys, it's just like that. If you die as an artist, I'm just being honest, all the artists who died, and nobody listens to your music, and nobody plays your music like that anymore, nobody talks about you, or, you know, replay your music, you never made music. You never made really real music. Unlike the other artists who died recently, you know, they at least said something worth us still talking about till this day. But yeah, what happened to these artists? Maybe they never were artists. Maybe they were actors. You know. Yeah, I'm just being honest. You have these artists, and it's fine. You know, that's how we are. But I'm talking more to those who if they really want a career as a musician, I'm talking to those. But I'm also talking to those who are just enthusiasts and just like doing this, you know, as a hobby and stuff. That, you know, I don't do small projects anymore. I don't do that. At this point, I could do double albums, but it doesn't matter. I can release my latest album with the others and make like a crossover. Isn't this like a double album? You know what I mean? Or make a double album, but what type of beats you want? You know, I cannot make a double pop album. A pop album is best in a single. A double album should be like something hip hop. Hip hop is good. A double album. And then you just need like a lot of beats. But enough of that nonsense. I'm just gonna make single albums, no more double albums. And you have to wait a little bit longer. I make single projects, but I don't do, you know, I'm being redundant, guys, but I do not do 9 tracks. My album has 9 songs. I don't do this anymore. No, I never. No, this is some BS, guys. This is BS. No 9, no 12, 14 songs. No, even 15. I'm like, what is this BS? 15 songs. That's why my album had 19 songs. 19 was just great. When I made this and I was like, you know, we can make 20 songs. But I'm like, this album doesn't need 20 songs. 19 was good. 19 kind of looks like 20, you know, but, you know, maybe next album I'm gonna, but you know what I mean? I just felt like 19 is good. Next album might's gonna stay 19, you know, my next album might's gonna have 19 songs, maybe 18, who knows, maybe 17, I don't know yet, maybe 20, maybe more. If nothing changes, guys, next album's gonna have 19 songs. If nothing changes, the album is gonna be called The Skull Candy 2. Just a sequel. And then maybe make a trilogy and make a Skull Candy 3 with a slightly altered cover